Okay, you guys. So I was sitting here thinking about these cards that came out and just sort of like looking at them. And, we are in such like the beginning parts of this massive changeover on an individual scale. And it gets a little messy and disharmonious in this process. And all of last year, I was talking about how we are separating from like higher vibration to lower vibration, like as a human race, like we are separating high vibe versus low vibe. Like this is really happening. And I think you're witnessing this happening right before your eyes. And it's not like an overnight sensation, but this is the epitome of the disharmonious in between. Okay, this is exactly what's happening. And it's a beautiful thing if you learn how to just witness it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the cards. I want to start here with the Seven of Wands because I'm seeing such a clash. This is clearly you, right? We're getting the two Capricorn cards. This is a card of Capricorn, right? The cardinal energy, which she's also coming out here as cardinal fire, which I love, okay? The cardinal earth and the fixed water, which is a card of Scorpio, but it doesn't have to be a Scorpio. It can be any sign, okay? I'm kind of seeing it unfold in two very different ways. One, these are both you. And two, this is you and this is someone else. So in the sense that this is both you, this is a very clear separation between what you know needs to happen and emotions, but not repressed, unhealthy emotion. This is actually one of the gifts that happen, or one of the blessings, or one of the talents that we develop when we start down a path of spirituality, where we can feel emotions and we can feel really deep, strong emotion about something and not let it hinder us in any way, shape, or form. Some people are just naturally very good at that. I think in many ways Capricorn can be good at that. But with the Pluto stuff going on in your sign and now the eclipses stuff in your sign, like it's really hard to make those distinctions. But that's something that is coming online for you really, really strong. Now, if this is someone else, like this is your other, okay, this is the other person, can we just take a look for a minute and see how incredibly opposite you guys are? First and foremost, you're looking in opposite directions. And we have kind of different color schemes, right? We have like the blue and white with like the yellow and green kind of thing. Very different worlds, very different landscapes. You very solid on earth, learning how to manifest life. That's why Capricorn is so powerful, right? Because it knows how to manifest life, how to grow life, to grow the garden, all of this, all the earth signs. And then we have someone who is more here on this earth to really learn about emotion, to learn about intensity, to learn about pain and suffering, and to grow through those emotions. So you're in a different path of life. In the soul evolution, you're just in different spots. It's important for you to have compassion for your other, okay, for the other person involved here, to have compassion, but the definition of compassion is not like to get lost in someone else's stuff. It's like the practice of empathy with boundaries is really what compassion is. So this Seven of Wands stuff is an empty fight, which like it's totally not worth it to engage with anyone, especially if they are like projection city. And you're going to be able to like pick up other people's projections like left and right. The Capricorn, who else was it? There was another sign. It's like Capricorn, Scorpio, and another sign, to really just kind of keep that mouth shut, to not really respond. Don't interact. Don't give anyone fuel, because people right now are looking for fuel. And the Sun and the Hierophant down here, I think, speaking very similar messages in terms of like being in that power seat, radiating goodness. See, the Sun never discriminates. never says, oh, well, I'm going to shine light on you, but not on that person over there. It's just unconditional. And when you look at the sun and you realize what's really happening, also one of my favorite quotes, like ever of all time, I think it's a Rumi quote, but I'm not sure exactly who said it. And still, after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. So when you look to the sun and you connect with the true essence of what it's doing, you can then in turn connect with your own essence, which is similar. Radiating goodness, radiating love, radiating life, really. That's Capricorn life. So, the sun is spiritual, it's high level, but it doesn't mean that you base yourself or that you lose yourself in anything else, right? You maintain your individuality, which we're getting 2 cards of Leo coming out here. Leo is right here. So 2 cards of Leo, which is all about the self, the individual. Okay. Let's see what else came out here. The moon again, we know. 10 of Swords. I think the fun is over. Probably wasn't really all that fun, The drama is over. The party's over. That's what I always say with the 3 of Cups reversed. Like, the party's over. It's time to clean up. It's time to get serious. It's time to get back to reality, back to real life. It was kind of fun while it lasted, maybe a little bit, but now it's so played. And the 8 of Coins reverse suggests that maybe you're having a hard time focusing. I think that has a lot to do with the Venus-Pluto, Venus-Saturn square. And also the, Mercury coming over Uranus tomorrow. And then a couple, I think it's on the 15th or 16th, Venus moves over Uranus as well as she enters into Taurus, Sun making its way over to Gemini, Mars moving into Cancer. So there's a lot of transitioning things happening right now. And it might be hard to really focus on the mundane parts of life. But if you do the things that you enjoy while you're kind of in this weird, dark, mysterious period, again, you're going to create space for that Ace of Wands to really come online, to get implanted into your heart. And let's talk about these pages now, because this is the stuff that we're all trying to get away from, This is the kind of stuff that we just don't have the patience for anymore. And I think a lot of you are like, oh my God, I'm this age. Am I really still doing this? I'm 35 years old. Am I really still doing this? Or even I'm 29. Am I really still doing this? Are people really still doing this in humanity? Really? It's an annoyed kind of vibe that I'm getting from it. The devil suggests, though, that there is a really intense connection or there's a really intense attraction. It's undeniable, and we develop these and we have these. The good thing is the devil comes out, it's your card, and the devil really represents stability and structure. And I think in a time when structures are kind of falling apart around you in maybe the external world, you abide by internal structure. And that in and of itself is the beauty of Capricorn. Has nothing to do with the outside world and everything to do with how you use the things you've learned. Because so many people, how many people in your life have gone through a certain lesson over and over and over again and they just never get it? Well, you're not really the type to just go through something hard and just not get it. I don't usually see my Capricorn friends continually going back to those bad situations. That's more like a Piscean behavior or a Scorpio behavior, or I don't even know. I could totally dog all the signs right now. But the people that keep going back to emotionally available people or whatever, that's not really your scene. Because you're the Saturn rulership there, same with Aquarius, the Saturn rulership there suggests that the lessons are hard enough that you never revert backwards. So you have this internal structure. You have the ability to use the things that you have learned. And so when the tower happens, whenever this person does and says or behaves in whatever they're going to do, you have this kind of high level philosophical guru kind of vibe where you just watch the tower crumble. In a way, I'm almost thinking you're watching them crumble their own tower because you are untouchable, remember? They can't crumble down your tower. They're doing it to themselves. And you're just kind of peacefully watching, being like, dude, I can't help you. You just gotta go through it the way I went through it. So it's probably hard to watch, It's probably hard to see it happen to someone you care about. But also, I'm developing this theory. People have been talking a lot about, people are really opinionated about the law of attraction. It's like, well, you couldn't have drawn in those people if you weren't on that level. You are at that frequency. And I'm guilty of doing that in the past when I didn't really understand it. But now I understand it. And I think there's like different ways that we attract things. One is, yes, we're on that level, so then we attract it. Another way is we attract the things that we judge in other people so that we can then work on those things within ourselves, and develop more compassion in that area. And then the other way, and I know this sounds bad, and I don't think this sounds very divine-like, but it's kind of really what's happened to me in my life. We attract people that show us where we used to be, so that we can know how far we've come. Because otherwise you're just in this aimless wandering around here. Aimless, endless darkness, endless, like the sun can't come up at a certain point if we really don't know how far we've come. Like the sun needs to come up. You have the sun. So I think the sun is coming up. And this kind of illumination stuff that's happening here and them crashing their own tower and them kind of going a little bit bonkers or whatever, they're doing that to show you like, look, hey, Capricorn, this is how you were 5 years ago. Look at how far you've come. So when the Page of Swords, could be the same person, it could be multiple people. I'm seeing like people, so I'm sure there's like many players in your life. So here you are. And this Page of Swords catches you though. This one, you're kind of watching it from afar in an observing capacity. But this one has the potential to really get to you for some reason. It could be a Gemini, right? Gemini energy, or a Libra or an Aquarius. An air sign, which I think the air signs are acting very out of character right now. Like last month it was the fire signs, and now it's the air signs. Like everyone is just acting super weird. It has to do with the Uranus stuff, okay? And then the Mars transit into Cancer. So it's kind of to be expected. Aquarius especially, because they've got the 12th house stuff going on. So here we have the Nine of Swords, which is connected to the devil. But this one gets you all in your head. And when you get all in your head, it can be really easy to like pick fights with people or get testy, get a little bit bitchy or angry or, get a little bit on edge with people. So if you find yourself doing that, seriously, like check yourself as quickly as you can. Shut your mouth, stop talking, and just let things play out. The people who let things play out this month are the ones that are going to end up with no regret. Because this kind of stuff, 5 of Wands, 7 of Wands, 9 and 10 of Swords, like this kind of stuff is the stuff that breeds regret. And we don't need that. We don't need to be regretting things that we're saying. If you're going to say something, I know we're going to really want to, just make sure that you mean it and make sure it's true. And make sure you're operating in nothing but truth, okay? open your eyes. Don't be afraid to open your eyes. The only reason this is hard is because you're not looking at the swords. It's like someone who's like afraid of not having money, and they're so afraid of looking at their bank account because they don't want to see how much money is in there. And you're like, what? Well, yeah, but you need to know where you're at. Like, do you even know how much money is in your bank account? Like, what are you even working with? Like, you have to look. Rip off the Band-Aid, look at those swords. Where is this person triggering you? Why is it driving you crazy? Why are you getting all 5 of Wands with people or with this person? Even if it's just something like as small as like a text message, or just like you have a dream, or there's some kind of memory that comes up and you're like, oh my God, like this person, this person, they get to me. Fine. It's a part of the disharmony. What did I say in the beginning? It's the disharmonious changeover between old and new. It's not overnight. Okay, so just ride it out. Here they are again, shrouded in moonlight for sure. Like they have so much moonlight, even starlight. Like this person is not operating in the light here. Okay, it's not possible that they know what they're doing. It's not possible that they know what they're saying. I think this definitely, Queen of Cups, is you. See, you're compassionate toward them. If it is the Page of Swords, Knight of Swords, same energy, you don't have to engage. You don't have to give over your resources. You don't have to give them anything. You don't have to be in the boat with them. But I know you still love them, and I know you still care, and I know they're really important to you, and they can be that, but you have to just let them go make all the mistakes. And if they keep doing it over and over and over, as long as it doesn't hurt you, it's fine. As long as they're not taking anything from you, it's fine. I know Capricorn is always the one that somehow just bears the burden. They're like so willing to bear the burdens of other people and their own burdens too. But I know that's a part of your growth. It's moving from the Capricorn energy into the Aquarius energy. As your suns and moons and ascendants progress, you become more and more compassionate, but also more and more detached. They kind of go hand in hand. Okay. So here you have the starlight. Here we have the Wheel of Fortune. Look, I'm not saying this person is bad. They're just frenzied. They're disorganized. They're not really on your earthy vibe. So you can let them, go and explore and let them find their alignment. I think they have good things coming. I do. I think you have good things coming for you as well. Hopefully that fan's not too loud. My air conditioning in this apartment is like so cheap. It's so loud. But I think you have good things coming as well. Focus on you. Okay? The connection here is sort of shifting, and I think it's because of your separation and your drawing the line and you not taking the fall for other people, right? Like I said, you're getting more and more a hang of it, what it means to be this soul and what it means to be in this seat of awareness. And every passing day gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and the world is giving you opportunities to continue to build that strength. You're not going to hear from this one, okay? Or at least you're not going to get what you want to hear. Usually the Page of Cups I see is like an apology or some kind of a romantic thing, or if they give you a Page of Swords, it's like a, hey, what's up? And this usually is like, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't think you're going to get that because they're just so in their darkness. You're here with the sun. The darkness for you is in the past. Or maybe you're like really transitioning between the moon. You're like kind of in the dawn, right? Right before sunrise is kind of where you're at. So don't wait for this. I mean, if it comes, great. But if not, also great. It doesn't matter. It's not necessarily relevant. You don't necessarily need that to move on. You don't. You really, really don't. I'm going to get to this last. I want to talk about this with the 9 of Coins. Again, a cardinal energy, right? Queen of Coins, Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands. So cardinal, and I love that for a Mars in Cancer, moving into the cardinal energy. It's beautiful, and I think you're going to really feel that supercharged. Like I said, the Energizer Bunny stuff. So Queen of Wands, she's the one who's connected with the Ace of Wands. She's the one who feels that desire in her heart and acts accordingly. You have the Five of Cups in between you and the Eight of Wands, but the Five of Cups is not a barrier. So here's a little bit of a test, right? It's connected with the Black of the Devil, of the Swords, okay? It's a little bit of a test for yourself. And I don't really think the universe tests us. It's more of a test you're giving yourself. So here's the test. Is emotional sadness a barrier between you and your tomorrow? The answer is, of course, no. No, it's not. Some Capricorns are going to live in the illusion that it is. So if you are dealing with the Capricorn right now, and they're like all in their feels and super emo, they're stuck at the Five of Cups. They're stuck in their Devil. They're stuck in their Nine of Swords. And there's not a lot you can do to kind of lift them up. They got to do that themselves. But every Capricorn has the opportunity to move forward in a highly positive and productive way in spite of this. And I know that your heart is still hurting because you're not going to get over this kind of energy just like that. But it doesn't mean you have to put your future on hold. And your priorities are really shifting right now. They are. Your career ambitions are in a completely different space than they were last year. Your family ambitions in a completely different space. Your romantic standards at a completely newer, higher, more solid than they were. Your ability to stand up for yourself, stronger than it ever was before. I mean, the progress that Capricorn has made because of the Pluto and Saturn stuff, it's like unreal. So, it's your kind of responsibility to yourself. You owe it to yourself to tap into this Eight of Wands and to begin the momentum now and to keep it going over the next several months. The first part of the year, there was so much potential for stuff, and yet we just kept kind of getting dunked under. Cancer season is going to be a little bit rough because of the eclipses, and the opposition, the Sun and Pluto and Saturn oppositions there. And, so the Cancer energy is going to be kind of a big deal. So we kind of have these couple of months that are giving us some breathing room. We're allowed to breathe. We're allowed to okay, finally, let's go. Let's get it done. Let's hurry up and get it done too, because we know that we're only going to have a few seconds to breathe before we got to, hold our breath and go back down under again. And so here you are doing the work. This is a Virgo energy. This is Sun entering into Gemini. Later on, Mercury is, I think, the same time Sun enters Gemini. It's about the same day Mercury enters Gemini too. And then Venus is going to be right behind it. So the sixth house energy really coming online. Getting to work, doing the mundane things, doing the dirty work, getting all the sales made. All the things that you need to do for yourself. Card of Taurus, there's money involved. There's that's it, really. There's money involved. It's something with your work, okay? And then we have the Three of Coins reverse, which suggests that it's not necessarily about starting a lot of new things. It's about wrapping things up. Some of you might be closing things down. Like I know that in my real job, my boss, he's a commercial real estate investor, and he is selling all the assets right now. Right? He's it's time to get out of the market. So he's selling all the assets. So that's what I mean, wrapping things up, wrapping things down. Be careful of the new things that you start because it could lose momentum during Cancer season. Okay, it really could. All right. Let's talk about the Ace of Wands. This is the powerhouse energy of the reading. This is really where it's at. And this is where the focus needs to be. I really think there's going to be someone who's either going to try to distract you or who's going to try to convince you not to do something. Seriously, don't listen to them. Especially if it's your air sign person that you're dealing with. Like, don't engage, because there's a selfish agenda. Again, I don't think they're necessarily a bad person, and I don't even think that they would even know that they have an agenda, right? But there's something of self-service, something of self-interest going on there, and I really don't like it. And that the problem is that they don't know. That's why they're so chaotic. That is why there's so much tense energy with these pages too, and why the swords and all that, because the other person doesn't know. Illumination and consciousness and awareness is not something that another person can give to another person. Life is going to give everybody lessons. It's going to give everybody tough stuff. It's going to give everybody good stuff. But just because someone goes too hard, it's like we see it all the time. Not everyone learns the lesson. So you can't give someone awareness. You have to respect where people are. You have to respect where people are, even if you hate where they are because it's so dumb, right? But you can't get mad. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like thinking about the role of killing in the world, right? Because in nature, killing happens all the time. Animals kill other animals, and even plants kill some animals. And I mean, there's death all over the place. And I was thinking about killing in humanity, and like how humanity really is like that first kind of level of consciousness where killing is not usually for survival anymore, right? Like it's on a whole different level. Anyway, sorry. So I was thinking about like house cats. And I was like, house cats are like serial killers, like for real, because they're not out there hunting for food. They'll like go out there and get like a lizard or a little rat or something, and they'll bring it into your house and they'll just kill it and leave it. Like they don't eat it. So it's like murder, these little serial killers running around. And I was just laughing at how kind of silly and how funny that was. And I was like, well, you don't get mad at your cat for doing that, because how could you get mad at your cat for being a serial killer? And, it's like, it's so stupid, the idea of getting mad at your cat, because they're just doing what a cat does. They're following instinct, and they're just not at that level of awareness. So that's kind of what sorry, that was a whole roundabout way to like say, like, you can't get mad. And a lot of people, you aren't going to really like that, but it is what it is. But your test for you is, are you going to recognize this when it comes into your life, when it gets implanted in your heart? Because that's where it's going to be. It's going to be in your heart. And you're going to feel this draw. And it's going to start off real quiet, but it's going to get louder and louder. Because here you are in this moon energy of a little bit like delusion, and you may even feel like you're going a little bit crazy and like, am I overstepping? Am I really thinking that my career could go down this path? Am I really thinking that I could have this kind of like awesome partner? Like, does this person even exist? All these kinds of things. And then you're going to get a seed, and it's going to begin to roar inside of you, and it's going to become undeniable. So all the other voices, specifically the King of Swords reverse, all these other little voices are going to get quieter and quieter and quieter. And then what's left with you is this royalty, this king or queen inside of you that has this desire in its heart and makes no apologies. This is a very Leo-esque kind of reading, and I think it has a lot to do with the 5th house energy, right? 5th house Leo. It's very Leo. A Leo knows what its heart wants and makes no apologies. I even labeled their video this month unapologetic, because it's like, yeah, this is what my heart wants. So what? So what? Who cares how dumb it is? Like, I don't care if your desire is to like, be one of those people that builds ships in glass bottles or that likes to collect like candles or something. Like, I don't care what it is. Just do it. Usually it doesn't have to do with that. It's usually not so material. It's usually like a contribution to the world, but a way to like when I said, like a language. Okay, well, why would you want to learn, Finnish? Okay, some weird desire. Okay, well, now you can go and you can connect with a whole country in a different kind of way. Rather than expecting them to speak your language, you can then speak theirs, and it's a totally different dynamic. So that can open up more doors for you. So don't question the desire itself, because you have no idea where it could go. And the Fool energy, like I said, it's divinely inspired. We have the Mars going into Cancer. We have Mars going into Cancer. So here we have the Cancerian vibe. We have a connection with childhood, okay? The Fool, also a connection with childhood or childlike wonderment, which is beautiful for moon-like qualities. What's possible? To live in awe of the universe itself is a beautiful thing, right? To live in awe of what is possible is not something everyone can do. It's really hard to take on that stance. It's really hard to not control stuff. But you're learning how to do it, and you're learning how to listen to that inner voice. This is a beautiful card of like feeling totally whole as an individual in spite of any other kinds of stuff, right? And then we move on to the Lust energy, and then boom, Ace of Wands. So we have kind of like a similar dynamic going on. Now, the Hanged Man is a delay. That's why I feel like this is going to be planted quietly. And then it's going to get louder and louder and louder over the course of the next few months. And it's going to blossom. And it's not going to be what you expect. So allow the desire to evolve, because it's going to have its own little mini evolution phase, okay? Because don't try to analyze it too much, because you're still a little bit too close to it, right? The Judgment card is kind of the antithesis of the Hanged Man. So here you have a delay, allowing things to come into full consciousness, allowing awareness to continue to blossom, and then boom, here's the understanding, here's the full awareness, here's the like, oh my God, I get it, right? And you're sitting, like I said, in this place of royalty. I don't need to really go into this too much. You're sitting in this place of royalty, sitting in a place of really knowing how to create life, okay? And you're doing it. And you're doing it without the influence of anybody else. This is about you. All right? So it's a beautiful thing. Oh, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what y'all are going to do with this energy. And I think you're going to be surprised. I think you're going to surprise yourself. So it's going to be amazing. So I'm going to leave you guys there. Thank you so much for everything. I wish you nothing but the best. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.